Good evening, everyone, and happy Father's Day to all of the dads who have chosen to raise their children right. And currently, in our society, in our world, we need more fathers like you guys. So, all of you fathers out there, hail to y'all, and thank you for being who you are and raising fantastic, wonderful children. Because, yeah, like I said, in our culture today, masculinity, fatherhood, parents, just family, nuclear families in general are seen as evil and dangerous and toxic and need to be torn down. So, especially on days like today, I remember and I honor all the men and the fathers who've made that sacrifice. So, hail to you guys! Thanks to y'all. Unfortunately, none of us are on the panel are fathers that we know of.
That,
But
oh yeah, I've gotten
Drew
around a
over
time
here.
or two in my life, so
For a few years, there
Uh,
was some time when I got back from England. I was dreading that phone call, just it was for several months. But woo, yeah, fortunately, it didn't happen.
That'll do it.
I mean, look,
In-
and if we're being honest, LA's expensive, so there's a lot of times that I went to the clinic, and
had to do what you had to do. Freeze some of your boys, eh?
Yeah, sperm donor daddy issues. What can I say?
Wow. I mean, hey, desperate times call for desperate measures, right? But then what happens is that woman can then charge you alimony, right? Or no, not alimony, child
support.
Child support.
Like
That's
that
right.
one chick did. Yeah, it's freaking crazy.
Damn. Whatever happened to that guy?
I don't know. I need to find that TikTok again and see what his follow-ups are. I know he was partnering with the lawyer, and the lawyer was telling him that she didn't have a case to stand on and that they'd get everything revoked. But it's still crazy that he donated sperm. A chick took the sperm, had a kid, and then managed to get child support off of him. That's insane.
That's
just
a new
the fact. That's a new. Just the fact that she was able to do that without any pushback, insane.
Yeah.
Like, we live in a parody world. So,
yep.
And the guy was a Marine too, wasn't he?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my God! Of course, it would happen to him. But,
this is an episode of Seinfeld. Jeez,
it really is, though. Yeah, for real. Well, speaking of Father's Day, I want to honor and celebrate one father that we don't really know personally, but you can't miss him. The man, the myth, the legend, Henry Cavill himself. Look at this guy. Look at this Chad with the crib in the background. He says, "Oh yeah, and happy Father's Day, ye dads out there. Turns out I shall be joining your hallowed ranks soon. Any tips?
What?
Don't worry." Yeah, he says, "And don't worry, pillows won't be in the crib when the wee one arrives. Just glue and scalpels so he can build Warhammer miniatures. Let's go." Absolutely based. Absolutely based. So,
good for him. That's awesome. Good for him.
I know. This is such a win. Like, this is his face is like, he is so proud that
that's
this
what
moment, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say, you could tell he's one of those guys that, like, he's been looking forward to this moment. Like, he's been waiting for the day that he would have a kid, a daughter or a son.
Yeah.
I'm sure he probably wants a son, but I'm sure he'll take it either way. But yeah, I just remember how sad everyone on Twitter was the day the news broke that his girlfriend was pregnant.
Oh, every woman on the internet dried up at that same moment and just, oh well, he's taken. Oh no.
And that Star Wars girl gave up. She had, even though she's married herself, she was disappointed. Her future is gone.
I guess so. Yeah, shoot. But no, seriously, yeah, this is such a cool moment for him, and you can really tell that he is ecstatic to become a dad, and this is a really cool experience, I think, that he's going to have with this child. And but yeah, no, I love how he says, "Turns out I shall be joining your hallowed ranks soon. Any tips?" So, and then of course he had to mention Warhammer in there, because how could you not? So, but pretty rad. We've got Paul in the chat. How's it going, Paul? Thanks for being here. We've got Cajun Corey. Hey, how's it going on? Good to see you, Cajun. Thanks for being here. And then we've got the Woad Warrior. Hail. Proud to be toxic with my wife and kids today. Well, hail to you, brother. Happy Father's Day. That's awesome. Jack Frost, the man. What's happening, dude? Great to see you as well. And he says, I bet my son he couldn't eat 2 pounds of mac and cheese today. Oh my God. He needs calories to grow. I win. 2 pounds of mac and cheese. My Lord. We've also got Andy Masterson. Hey, Andy, hail to you. Great to see you. He says, sons are great, but daughters will never stop calling you daddy. Damn. Oh, that probably gets you in the feels every time, hey? I mean, yeah, just walking your daughter down the aisle, I feel like is just something you can't prepare for as a dad, you know. But even though that must be nice, I still want a son. So, oh, and plus I'm the last of my line, so the Priestleys have to live on. But that's all right. Well, that day will come. Yeah, that day will come later. I first have to find a wife.
I would say you got to find a chick first. I mean,
I know that's first and foremost.
I'm sure you'll find a nice 20-something-year-old co-ed at your college who's looking for a nice, strong man to lean upon.
Oh no! Let me guess. Her major will be gender studies, and her minor will be in Afro-American culture. And no, I don't know.
I was going to say
like
underwater
Latina
typewriter
you're looking for.
Wait, sounds like what?
Latina you're looking for.
Oh boy, Drew, what was it you said? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
It's actually underwater typewriter maintenance that she's going to be majoring in.
Oh, not underwater basket weaving. Interesting.
No,
okay,
typewriter maintenance. Yeah, it's making a comeback.
Oh, all right, that's fair. You know what is not making a comeback? You like that? You like that segue?
Lord of the Rings.
It works.
Well, gosh dang it, we could cover Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna give Aaron some time to get in here because I'm sure he feels a certain type of way as well. But I figure we can talk about Blade in the meantime, because what an absolute dumpster fire this is turning out to be. Oh, you're happy.
I'm gonna have an antithetical statement to this.
Oh, good. Okay, please.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead. Do your spiel, and I will have just a general thought. But
all right,
go ahead.
All right. First, I do want to say hail to Culture Casino. What's happening, brother? We missed you in Dallas, but I hope you are doing well. And we've also got the Angry Canadians. He says, please tell me you guys caught the replay of Kojo 2 weeks ago. Oh boy, did we ever. Yeah, Circle of Jerks. That was wild. So thank you, hail to Zax and hail to Don for doing that. That was incredible. So yeah, Culture, we are 8 scripts in on the Blade dumpster fire, and 2 directors, and how many writers? 3 writers have come through?
No, more than that at this point, I think.
More?
I think it's 6 writers at this point.
Yeah.
6 writers.
Yep.
Oh
this is really reminding me of that dry spell in between Superman 4 and Superman Returns, when all those scripts were produced, all those directors came and went. It's just turning into a shit show.
Well, it is and it isn't. And here's the thing. And just the difference is media, right? So we have scoopers that are out there, that their whole living now is what little bit of information can I find out about whatever film is going on? What can I put out there? It's not uncommon for films to take years to go from the starting point to actually being filmed. We look at Deadpool with Ryan Reynolds.
5 years though?
Hold on. We look at Deadpool with Ryan Reynolds. That took 7 years to come about. Went through multiple writers, multiple directors, even X-Men 2000. They started working on making an X-Men film in 1989. They didn't actually make it until 2000. It went through 8 different writers, multiple different scripts, 4 different directors. James Cameron was the one tied to it to begin with. This isn't uncommon. You just typically don't hear about it. And I think what's putting this particular movie in such a bad spotlight is they started at the end. Usually they don't announce cast or who's going to be on it until after a script's written. It's kind of like pretty much locked in. They're doing pre-production. They're getting ready to start filming. Gideon's ear looks super cute right there in the camera.
Yeah. Gideon,
now he's just showing some tail. Yeah.
Don't turn around. Don't turn around.
He's like, you want to talk about an attention vampire? It's me.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But instead, they started like in the moment announcing Mahershala Ali and saying like, hey, we're gonna do Blade. And it's because Mahershala Ali approached Marvel saying he wanted to play Blade. So they knew it was a get. They knew it'd cause an uproar. So 2019 SDCC, they announced it. They hadn't hired any writers. They hadn't even talked about directors. Like, so you're getting all this stuff, but all this stuff is typical within making a film. It happens. You just don't hear about it.
And I think too, with Marvel now, they're just like they're kind of producing things before they can. Oh, sorry, that was a lot of Gideon fur. They're producing things and they're like putting things in the works before they even know what they're trying to do. Like you said, because with even Agatha, how many times has that title changed? They have no idea what they were going to do with that, but they just keep changing stuff. And I think they're so focused on just trying to get content out that they haven't stopped to think and realize maybe we should start doing this stuff behind the scenes before we actually like announce something, right? But because, like you said, they were so stoked about Mahershala Ali, they were just like, all right, let's get on the hype train right now because Marvel's hot and we have to keep putting out content. So I definitely see where you're coming from, Josh. It's the kind of perpetual, we just need to release things, right? But I mean, can you at least say that this does seem like it should be something so simple and yet it still feels like they can't get it right? Or are you saying that this is just all part of the process?
It's a little bit of both. So I think generally speaking, it's part of the process, and there are some things here that were out of their control. When you take in the strikes that happened, that was a good, 8 months, I think that delayed this even further. That's actually part of the reason this director was stepping down, because he had other commitments that were slated and scheduled. And since this got pushed back even further, because it mentions that he's actually been gone for months at this point. But yeah, I mean, I think part of it is, they had a different agenda, which was the stupid agenda, and like DEI and female, and not Marvel, just Disney as a whole. And since they're discovering that doesn't work and hasn't worked and won't work, they're trying to get back to actually telling good stories. And I would say, look, we're on a decent path. So Michael Green is the main script writer for Blade. This is the guy that wrote Logan. I mean, that's a good sign. They brought in Eric Pearson to do some touch-ups. They've used Eric Pearson on multiple film scripts for touch-ups. And it's one of those things, like they did this with Joss Whedon for X-Men. They had him write an entire script. They used 2 lines. I mean, it's just, it's just how the industry works. They'll have something that decide they want more humor or more grit or more character moments. So they'll hire someone, write the script, and they'll just, piecemeal. That's not always a good thing. Like, that's some of the things I hate about blockbusters, but we'll see. And then as far as the director stepping down, this isn't really public news, but the director they're talking to is Chad Stahelski, which for me, do it. It's the guy that's doing the John Wick films. Well,
okay.
If you're gonna get Chad Stahelski to come in, you know what that tells me? It tells me you're gonna have some kick-ass bomb action. And if you're gonna have a rated R Blade, let's do it. I don't think it's all bad.
Do we know if this is rated R or not? I forget if they announced that or not. Okay,
it's rated R.
So yeah, this says filmmaker Jan Demange is no longer set to direct Blade. Marvel Studios long in the works reboot of the vampire superhero franchise set to star Mahershala Ali. This is the second director to leave the project. He exited the production in 2022. Or sorry, the first director, Bassam Tariq, he exited in 2022. Insiders say that Demange departed the film amicably weeks ago, as development on the project has stretched over multiple years. Screenwriter Eric Pearson, who co-wrote the Fantastic Four. Ooh. Wait, like the first Fantastic Four, or
or
like
Eric Pearson's not a highlight. I would be curious to know what he contributed to these scripts. And that's something I'll have to look into. But what the scripts they name, they're not wins. So.
Interesting. Michael Green, Stacey Osei Kafur, Michael Starbury, Bo DeMeo. Wow. All right. Interesting. While Marvel has not officially moved Blade off of its November 7th, 2025 release date, it's looking increasingly unlikely that the project will be able to start production in time to make that date. The next 4 Marvel films on Disney release calendar: Deadpool, Wolverine, Captain America, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four. Out of those 4, are you guys looking to... I mean, of course, Deadpool and Wolverine. I think if anything, that's going to be the closest to making $1 billion and actually being a hit amongst fans. Captain America, Brave New World, no thanks. No. Thunderbolts, does anyone care about that team? And Fantastic Four, they got 3 out of the 4, I think, okay. But, you know, they're planning on introducing Shala Ball as the Silver Surfer. It just seems like all of these decisions could be huge if they course correct. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. The one out of those that I'm looking forward to the most is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah,
same.
You know, Thunderbolts, I'm sure I'll love the Bucky and Yelena moments, but I don't know if I'm going to like the film. We'll see. That seems like it's been a hot mess too in terms of trying to figure out the story. So
yeah, if there's more uterus removal jokes from her, I'm checked out.
Yeah.
I
think there. They take it and they remove it from your body. And he's like, okay, I get it.
I love that when you have Natasha talk about feeling like a monster because she pretty much, you know, had herself, you know, she's a terrible person. But when you have Yelena make a joke about it, it's oh my God, OMG, great.
It's funny. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
it reminds me very much of the Samuel Jackson from Civil War. We learned about, he's like, I trusted someone deeply, and that's what caused like this his eye to be lost. It's like, oh shit, and then it turned into a fucking punchline in Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
which Drew experienced for the first time not too long ago.
Oh, God, that's right. No, but yeah, genuinely, I mean, like when you look at I think it was Civil War, when Natasha is talking to Bruce and she is in tears, her voice is shaking. She can't speak to him correctly because she feels like a monster. She feels like a weapon, and she just completely feels used. And yeah,
it's Age of Ultron, because he talks about how he's a monster because he can't control himself. And then she talks about how she feels like she's a monster because she gave up the opportunity to create life and be a mother, which is something she values for the sake of being able to be a better spy and kill people more easily.
Yeah. It is a very difficult conversation, and I think they did it well in that film. But hey, no, we got to have jokey jokes, right? Because everyone loves jokey jokes and Marvel Universe humor. Yeah.
All those half head shaped lesbians, they love those uterus jokes.
They sure do.
And now they even love the Force creating babies. That's fun too, because that's something it's always been able to do.
Scissoring.
Scissoring. Scissor me timbers. In December of 2023, Ollie told Entertainment Weekly that he was optimistic about the reboot's creative trajectory following its eventful development process. You know, hey, as an actor, that's the best thing you can say. I'm optimistic about the creative trajectory, which is basically saying, like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but like, listen, I'm just going to let them do their thing, right? I'm excited for the opportunity, and I'm sure they're going to have their stuff figured out. So it's, you know, I'm sure that's Ollie making sure that
he's pushing.
He's not.
He's 50.
I mean, thankfully, black don't crack. Look at Angela Bassett. But I will also say, and I think part of the reason he hasn't just bailed on this is partially because, keep in mind, he handpicked the previous writer before Michael Green, and it was the guy that he worked with on True Detective. So he was like, this is the guy. He's the one that needs to write this. And that's the guy that then made Blade the 4th lead character in Blade's own film.
And it was going to be like Blade's daughter. Yeah. Bloodline.
Yeah.
Bloodline. Daughter of Blade.
Daughter of Blade.
Her 2 friends and then Blade.
I do think this is interesting, though, because I would love to get your take on this, Josh, especially with what you've kind of given us a heads up on, is like in terms of how films are made and what the industry looks like, and just how things can get so delayed, right, in the whole process. But Mahershala Ali's lawyer, or I believe his representative, I don't know if it's his agent or his manager. Someone said it was his lawyer. Says that it's the craziest experience in his career.
Yeah, again, this isn't unheard of. Like,
right.
Especially within Hollywood, this happens all the fucking time. Go look up any film that is your favorite film, and you're gonna read about delays in getting production started, delays in scripts. You're gonna learn about castings that happened, and then that actor actually never got to film that series or movie for whatever reason. It's not unheard of. If it's his rep, and I think some sources say his lawyer, some say either manager or agent. They usually have one of each when they're that big. Their whole goal is to just make sure he gets paid, because they only get paid if he gets paid. That's all they care about. So yeah, they're gonna say whatever they need to say to fast track it, kind of get stuff. And there's definitely some pressure here to like, let's make this film happen, because it's been so public 4 or 5 years. The delays have been public. Like, let's go. Like, it's a bad discussion all around. In comparison, Rogue One had a lot of the same conversations, and I think it's one of the better Star Wars films that we've ever seen. So.
Well, I guess, that's the next question is, with these delays, do you think that it'll make it a better film? Because some people would say that it's going to make it worse, that all of these delays and all these different writing, it was a nightmare behind the scenes. And so once we finally get to see it, are people going to see the duct tape around the screen? You know what I mean?
None of the names behind the scenes give me any trust in this film. I will say, look, I'm going to say a name. It's going to sound crazy and ludicrous, but I really think if they got back David Goyer to work on the writing chops on this, don't direct it, write it, write the Blade script, I think, or co-write it, it would be amazing, because he wrote the first two at least. I know he directed the third, which was a shit show, but the first two at least were really damn good scripts, outside of a line here and there. But I think he would be a major contribution.
I mean, I think David Goyer's reliable. I think it would have been. I mean, they probably wanted a quote unquote different voice, but yeah, he did the first Blades. He did Batman Begins. He said
in the Dark Knight.
Yeah, like he's a quality writer. So
yeah,
I would have been okay. Yeah,
I think you guys both bring up a good point in terms of. Speaking about how public this is, because I think if this were not have been mentioned, I don't think this would be as big of a deal. But you're right. A lot of this is just PR. It's not PR. It's optics. It's all optics. Like, how many people are seeing this right now? But as we mentioned before, Mahershala is 45 years old, and by the time they get to actual principal photography, or I think that's what they call it, he'll be 50. So I mean, he still looks like he's in great shape. He still looks fantastic. But it says Marvel Studios' development of Blade has been an absolute disaster, with Ollie's lawyer Shelby Weiser calling it the crazy experience in her professional career. That deal was in 2019, and they still haven't shot it, which is pretty much the craziest thing in my professional experience. So maybe she's new to the industry, or maybe she's, like you said, maybe she's saying this just to make sure that that she's representing her, talent correctly, in order to get him, like, let's go. What are we doing? Get him paid, get him in, get him out, do what we need to do so we can move on to the next project. And that's kind of where we're at. So Aaron Sparrow, unfortunately, says that he's been trying for 20 minutes, but StreamYard won't let me. I am so sorry, brother. Well, you are more than welcome to, try again and maybe come hang out with us if you can get it working. We are going to talk a little bit of Star Wars. So Aaron, I have your tweet up, right? Meow. So we'll bring this up later on in the stream. So if you can make it, we would love to have you, brother. But if not, StreamYards can go. What is it? What is he saying, Donnie Darko? Suck a fuck?
Yeah.
Tell me, Max, how does one?
You're such a fuck ass. A fuck ass? I'm a fuck ass? You're a fuck ass. You know what? You can go suck a fuck. Okay.
Please tell me, how does one suck a fuck?
Yeah, and you're demonetized.
Yeah, right. And there it is. And here, this is. Look who we were able to get on.
Finally.
Yeah, right. And there it is.
Oh,
I think we're getting a little bit of echo, Aaron.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Hail to you, sir. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's nice that StreamYard is finally working.
I agree. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, chat, StreamYard has not enabled us to record or go live since Saturday. So Saturday morning, we were about to go on the Comics Aficionados, and it just told Wes, no. It just said, you're not going to stream this morning. And he said, okay, maybe we should try a different link. Created a brand new link, created a brand new stream. Once again, said that traffic was high and that we weren't able to do it. And then finally, he said, you know what, screw it, we'll just record something. And it said that he could not record anything at this time. So it's been kind of off the rails, but oh well. You know what else is off the rails? Oh, go ahead, Drew.
Oh, we got to do the best of the week, fortunately, a couple hours later.
That's right, which is good. I'm glad that you guys were able to do that. So,
Was there anything?
Transformers.
Yeah, Transformers and Transformers.
Pretty incredible how Skybound buys Transformers and instantly overnight makes it a hit, while IDW hasn't been able to do with it anything with it for a decade.
G.I. Joe. Talk about the crowdfunding G.I. Joe. Almost $2.5 million. It's out right now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, IDW wanted to inject a bunch of identity politics into books like Transformers and G.I. Joe, books that are primarily read by 40 to 50-year-old men. So, like that's not the audience that's going to fly with. As soon as, they like to say that, when they tried to do the combined universe, that, it failed, everything dragged, they wanted Transformers to lift all those other books up, but it dragged Transformers down. No, what dragged Transformers down was you guys doing gay Transformers, trans Transformers, non-binary Transformers. That stuff doesn't fly when it comes to robots.
Yeah.
Technically all of the Transformers are non-binary because they're not male or female. They're robots. They have male or female design specifications.
Yeah.
But they don't produce sexually. So, and stop pretending that they do. It's stupid. It's stupid to write the Transformers as if they're biological life forms like us. Stop it.
Yeah. What a concept. Transformers. If you couldn't get any more on the nose with Transformers.
Transformers, sometimes girls or guys. Transformers, get ready for a surprise.
Oh,
Transformers, don't look between your date's thighs.
My vagina transformed into a penis.
I mean, yeah, because the other way around wouldn't really be much of a transformation. It would be more of a detachment. So
no, just like haven't you seen the operations? They just
yeah.
Oh no. Okay, anyway, Looks
you
like
ever seen those stuffed
H-
animals where it's like it's an octopus and then you pull it inside out and it's like no, it's a puppy. It's kind of the same principle.
It reminds me of like H.R. Giger, like ugh, it's like ooh.
It's
we
body
have
horror,
MD.
Man. Like ooh,
It really
like you
is.
saw that in a movie, you'd be like, oh.
Yeah, like a face hugger. We've got MV Penis in the chat. He says, "Hey Max, happy Father's Day. Remember when you promised to take me with you to Dallas, but you left me in a drawer with one of Josh's socks? Ooh, talk about creepy and body horror." Yeah, MV Penis. I wasn't gonna bring you. Sorry, dude. I have a reputation to uphold. Okay. He says, "I know, Josh. I gave you those socks for Valentine's Day." Oh man. Well, I don't have a real great segue for this, but since we now have Aaron on the show, what the hell is going on? Say again?
I said gay is a good segue.
For Star Wars? I mean, well, yeah, I guess Star Wars. Yeah, that makes sense. Aaron, what the hell is going on with this franchise? This hasn't worked for the past decade. Why are they still adamant about blaming fans for their own like screw ups?
Because these articles are all written by idiots like Rachel Leishman over at the Mary Sue And what they can't get over is the idea that anybody is rejecting their ideology being pushed into Star Wars. That's really what this is it's not toxic fans. It's not, it's like, yeah, toxic, like nobody's really complaining anymore in like an angry way. Everybody's just laughing at Star Wars now. They're laughing at what a joke it's become. They're laughing at how terrible it is. It's like everybody is just in on the joke now. And that's really the worst part for them, is because they can't even really get people outraged anymore, because everybody's just moved on emotionally, and the connection to Star Wars has been severed. So now we just make fun of it and how stupid it is. Like when you see a 300-pound human Jedi, and because that they were like, well, we need to have a body body positivity representation in this in the Jedi Order. But also it's weird because it seems like they're building to the idea that the Jedi either accidentally caused this incident where they murdered this lesbian witch coven. And so like you've got a bunch of diversity within the Jedi, for representation, but you're going to make the Jedi the bad guys. So it's like, what message are you guys are confused about your messaging?
Because they don't actually know what they want. They want to say, they feel like they're so profound in what they're trying to say. And you can see it from a mile away. And it's only episode 3. And like you said, Aaron, we know that they're trying to make the Jedi look to be these murdering psychopaths that are going to steal your children. And that's one of the things that I think is so divisive and so hateful about what is currently going on. It's not good enough to just say, here's my politics and here's my show and here's my ideology. It's everything beforehand that you guys liked, like the Jedi, we have to systematically destroy it because it's inherently problematic. That to me, and we'll talk about Lord of the Rings and why the Lord of the Rings is so, just so evil, and just absolute nonsense in my opinion. But because they think that what came before is hateful or toxic or whatever.
Well, you have to tear down tradition. You have to, you have to destroy, the idea of what the nuclear family is. You have to destroy all these things, so that you can get a point. You need to replace the Jedi with your little lesbian witches coven. It's like, I'm sorry, but if the Jedi killed a bunch of witches, a bunch of occult practitioners of the occult, I mean, like, am I supposed to think that's a bad thing? Like,
I guess that tracks.
Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, the Jedi's, part of their mission is to eradicate evil, and here you've got a coven of witches, which they, whether they want to or not, want to admit it or not, they are the Night Sisters. They are trying to go out there and say, like, they are practicing occult practices, and that's what Disney Star Wars is trying to now force into the mythology as a heroic thing, is occult practice. It's like, of course people are going to reject it. Of course people are going to laugh at it. Of course people are going to say this isn't Star Wars. And no matter how much you try to shame your audience, they're not going to buy your product. Shame is not a motivator for customers. It's never worked once. Not once has this tactic of calling your customers bigots and phobes and hateful and toxic, not once has it generated a single dollar in your favor. So why do you keep going back to it? And this, the problem is that this isn't even Disney at this point. This is just the people that Disney has courted as their customers that are going out and are actively writing articles every single time something comes out that further damages their brands. Now, Disney's doing a good enough job of destroying their brands on their own. They don't need your help, but I'm sure they also don't really appreciate it.
It is also exhausting. That I think you said something earlier that I really resonated with, is that a lot of people now are just laughing because I was, it is Father's Day. I was spending time with my mom and dad today. And my mom goes, isn't there something goofy with Star Wars going on currently? And my dad's eating, we're eating, lunch together, and he's like completely tuned out. He doesn't do Star Wars. He doesn't do Lord of the Rings. He's not a nerd, but my mom loves this stuff. And I go, yeah, they got 2 lesbian witch cultists to scissor using the Force to make a baby.
The thread, Max. The thread.
Oh yes, excuse me. Sorry, the thread that the thread that runs through all of us. and my dad choked on his food from laughing so hard. And this is a man who cares nothing about Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Star Trek, Doctor Who. He was laughing so hard, and my poor mother was just like, they've completely ruined it. How could they do such a thing? Yeah, it's just it's an absolute joke. Even South Park, in their infinite wisdom, couldn't come up with something like that. It's unreal. So
South Park called it like, can you imagine how embarrassing it is to have been Kathleen Kennedy at working on The Acolyte, knowing what was coming with The Acolyte, how humiliating it must have been to be like Disney working on The Acolyte and having South Park come out with that episode where they're like, make it lame, they put a chick in it, make it gay and lame. And then a few months later, The Acolyte drops, and that is exactly what they did.
Yeah,
that is exactly
absolutely
the strategy.
Absolutely hilarious.
I mean, look, I don't have a big problem with a coven of Force users, or like a group of Force users that use the Force differently, that call it something differently, that have a different philosophy on it. I don't have any inherent problem with that. You know, it's a big galaxy. Lots of characters lots of people would be able to access the Force, you know, and not have the formal Jedi or Sith training, and come up with a different explanation for the the power that they're able to connect to. Don't have a huge problem with that. What I have a problem with is the idea that they're going to present this as the true version of the Force, that this coven has it right and that the Jedi and the Sith have it wrong.
Once again, completely subverting and thwarting what has come before. Because, no, you guys thought that the Force and the Jedi, you thought that? No. This is what is the true, what all you bigoted, hateful losers haven't been able to see this whole time. These people like despise us. It's so I've never seen. Well, actually, now we're seeing it with Lord of the Rings, but I've never seen something like with comics, with Star Wars, with Star Trek, and Doctor Who. Like a production team or writers or whoever it is that so actively hates the fan base and completely wants to change everything that they like. And I know that that's very a strong thing for me to say, because I've always thought, well, what is it? Is it stupid or evil? Right? Is it hubris or is it intentionality? And with this, I at this point, it has to be intentional. You cannot ruin something this bad and completely try and thwart and destroy what came before. Like just being out to lunch. Like this has intentionality behind it, but I don't know. Does the panel think that this is stupid or evil? Like, where are we now? Because I don't know. I'm really beginning to think that this is
octupling down. This isn't tripling down. This is octupling down at this point.
It is. They are
the degenerate Homer Simpson gambler at the table that just keeps just 19 hit me, 20 hit me, 21 hit me.
Yeah.
Just
no.
I mean, this is no different. Yeah, look, it's a bunch of idiots and retards running the asylum. That's really what it is. Yeah. And before, when we used to look at crazy people and go, they're crazy, take whatever they say with a grain of salt. Now we're like, oh, you have value, so we should give you an opportunity.
We've mainstreamed mental illness, and we've made an excuse for everything, and we've started letting people come to the table and treat their opinions as if they are valid and if they are just as valid as a rational, creative person. But we're letting lunatics come in and start smearing poo on the walls, and instead of going like, oh, they're smearing shit all over the walls, we need to lock them up or restrain them. We're like, oh, look, Peaches Valentine is a poo artist. Let's see what they paint.
How fun. Yeah.
And they smear it all over your favorite franchises, and by the end, all of your favorite things are covered in shit and become shit. And it's just, what are we doing? Like, and all you can do is laugh. All you can do is laugh and let go. And guys, listen, I know that nostalgia is strong. I know that we all want to reconnect to the things that made us happy when we were younger. I know that Star Wars is one of those happy places for a lot of us, or at least it was. I know that Lord of the Rings is a happy place for a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep your happy place in the original versions and don't expect that there's going to be anything new coming out of these franchises that are going to come anywhere close to giving you that same feeling. It's gone. It's dead. The creative people that made these things are done, and they're now in the hands of lunatics and activists and evil people. So just move on and find new things and create new things, because everything that you used to love, it's still there, but any new versions are dead before, or they're just stillborn. So just stop even expecting anything good to come out of any of these companies.
Yeah.
And Aaron has a point. You know, like 30, 40 years ago, a lot of these quote unquote creatives, these people would have been locked up for being mentally insane. And unfortunately, these rocket scientist producers have hired these mentally ill people, thinking that they're geniuses, when in fact, no, they are legitimately insane.
I think that it's a sad realization, but the hope in this all is that and kind of the cool part, which seems counterintuitive, but hang with me. I think at this point now, it gives us an opportunity to go, let's revisit all that other stuff that maybe we haven't gotten a chance to watch or read, you know, in the past. And now let's like go back and go, I can't believe how amazing this is. Or I'm so thankful that we have this stuff and this is my continuity, because everything else will just wither away and die, right? And it's not your boy Zach keeps saying, oh, from the ashes will rise all this. It's not that. It's like, hey, we're gonna be over here, we're gonna do our thing, and you guys can just ruin whatever the rest of the scraps of whatever is left of this franchise, but we're gonna hang on to the stuff that was made with care and passion and intentionality. So Zach
has an interesting what I see is an interesting I don't want to say hypocrisy, but an interesting dichotomy going on, in that he has said that the comics industry is dead, just let it go. He's just like, in his heart, he's just let it go. But then yet he's raging against everybody kind of doing the same thing with cinema. Is like, you're gonna let the movies die. Well, you know what? A lot of people are at the point where they're like Kirk in Undiscovered Country. Let them die. Just let them go. Let them go, because they're not serving their customers. So, you let it die, and then maybe some other industry will spring up. Maybe it won't. There'll always be some form of entertainment that'll come along. The free market will always fill the void. It might take a while, but something will happen. And like you said, we have an amazing back catalog of things that we've all never experienced. That's why people are watching Suits on Netflix, a show that's like many, many years old, is because they're going back to a time before all of this stuff was corrupted. And so, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back and read all the expanded, what are now legends, but are actually the true, the true expanded universe of Star Wars. Ignore all of the stuff that's happened since the acquisition, starting with Chuck Wendig's terrible Aftermath novel to the current High Republic garbage that they're putting out. Just ignore all of that. Go back and read the original Zahn trilogy. Go back and read Karen Travis's Republic Commando novels that were set, like during the Clone Wars. Read all the new Jedi Order stuff. Go back and consume all that if you really want your Star Wars fix. If you want to feel that love for Star Wars again. You want to feel the love for Lord of the Rings? The books still exist. Those Peter Jackson films are still there, and they are untouchable. Go back and watch those. Go back and watch early Pixar stuff. All the stuff that was great, that made you fall in love with these franchises to begin with, that were created by guys like John Lasseter and George Lucas and people, men that were actually real geniuses and had true vision. Go back and revisit all of that stuff and discover your love again, and forget all this current dreck, and just put yourself in your happy place.
Hell yeah, brother. Well said. Well said. Amen. Hello to our wonderful, beautiful Steph. And Steph, you are my bestie as well. And I know that is for Josh, but I'm gonna take credit for it. So that's all right. We've also got.
I'm gonna take credit for it too.
Yeah, no. We'll just. It's okay, Aaron. We'll take care. We'll co-opt it. So.
I'd like it if Drew was like the dark horse. She's like, no, I was talking to Drew.
Ooh, maybe she was. I'll definitely check this out, Soul. Thank you. Yeah. And I agree with this. Bravo. What's happening, Jacob Ironside? Great to see you. And Comics Exposed. Great to see y'all. And I agree. The first season of True Detective may be a perfect 10 out of 10 season. It's beautiful. So
yeah, I just want to clarify. I'm not saying the other seasons were good. It was Ali saying the writer for whatever season he was on. Was it 2? Was he on season 2?
No,
3.
I think he was on 3.
No,
3.
He was
okay,
3.
yeah.
Because 2 was Vince Vaughn. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
balloons.
Yeah, 2 was
Um,
so.
Two,
Oh man.
He was
two
the
is
one that
Vince
was
Vaughn and Colin
yeah,
Farrell.
this writer's the guy, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
Speaking of Mahershala Ali, there was one last thing that I wanted to talk about Blade before we go on to the next topic. I don't know if you guys saw this today, but my God, the man came through. Wesley Snipes himself tweeted, "Blade, lordy, lordy, lordy. Folks still looking for the secret sauce, riding snowmobiles in traffic. Kind of rough. Daywalkers make it look easy, don't they?" What a fucking Chad, man. I
love it.
this.
Love it. Love it.
I retweeted that and just said shade.
Yes. Clifton Duncan says the OG. Thor Odinson says always. Scott McKenzie says preach. I mean, he just completely came in. I just love this. Daywalkers make it look easy, don't they? It's like, oh my God, Wesley Snipes, you're the man, dude.
Some MFers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Always
That's Marvel Studios right now.
Yep, always trying to ice skate uphill.
I'm trying to imagine if he got to do the Black Panther film back in the 90s, what that would have been like.
Oh, dude. But then you would have had him playing two characters, and I know Chris Hemsworth Evans. I know Evans has played two characters, but I mean, do we really remember the Fantastic Four? So, oh well.
I mean, remember his part because he was damn good in it.
He was charming, yeah, he was.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Blade, though, before we move on to our next topic, I'll play this.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Oh, I love
So
that
good.
movie.
Speaking of Chads, what a great villain Stephen Dorff was.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was
So good.
really chewing that scenery.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun to watch them fight, and
Donald Logue, it was such a like kind of like low budget film.
Yeah,
it was so damn good.
Yeah, Chris Christopherson as Whistler, he was great. It just
oh yeah.
I made a custom
had-
Marvel Legends of Whistler for my my Marvel Legends collection. I was like, I gotta have him in my collection.
With the leg brace and everything?
Leg brace and everything. Yeah, I took the leg brace off of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
So yeah, no, it was an incredible film because you had it's a really simple formula. You get like some awesome dance, like high tech, dubstep type music from the early 2000s. You get a really charismatic lead in Wesley Snipes. You have him kicking ass every single scene, and you got yourself a vampire film. You got yourself a Blade film. Like that. It seems pretty simple, but hopefully Disney Marvel can figure it out. But we'll see. I'm not holding my breath.
You have him be a quiet badass. You have him be the quiet badass. He's not. That's why Whistler was necessary, so that Whistler could do most of the talking and most of the exposition and most of the things that you needed to know, because it would have taken away from Blade's mystique if you would have had him doing all of that.
Yeah.
Now
he doesn't need to be.
Now it'll just be like his daughter or something being like, "Oh my God, he's a daywalker."
Dad, you're being cringe. You're giving cringe right now, Dad. Oh.
It'll be all about Blade's struggle with keeping his daughter from going out and fighting vampires. And, it'll be all about her. And then she'll team up with Cassie Lang, and they'll both scold Blade for not doing enough.
Cassie Lang.
That I can't even.
Worst recast in the history of recasts.
Oh,
Jesus
awful.
Christ.
Well, you know what? Just the absolute worst script too.
Yeah, I don't want to bag on the actress too much because she was given a big shit sandwich to work with.
Yeah.
So
and she did a shitty job with it.
Well, she did.
There was stuff that wasn't terrible, and she still made it terrible.
Yeah, she was still bad. But come on, how do you deliver great lines like "just don't be a dick," okay? And Modoc's like, "Oh, I never thought of it like that. I just won't be a dick."
Or what does she say when
my villainy?
What does she say when she's trying to it's at the end of the film and she's trying to rile everyone up and she's like, "I know we're all a bunch of losers and we all suck, but we got to do something." And they're like, "What? Who are you?"
They should have done? We should cut it. Josh, you know what? For my birthday, this is what I want you to do. I want you to cut that scene together with the inspiring speech from Black Adam, where the guy comes out and just is quietly like speaking to everybody. And they're just like, who've lost, like things have collapsed and fallen over, and they're trying to dig their loved ones out from under rubble, and find their bodies. And this guy shows up and he's like, "Hey guys, what we should do is we should probably help out here." Like, what? Who are you? And you put Cassie in there. I know we're losers, and I know we all suck.
Gosh dang it. And everyone's going, what? Kid, speak up. Speak up, kid.
Oh yeah, DDP.
Get down from there. Get that. You're gonna get hurt. Oh my god.
I've got my wife's head in my hands. I don't.
Yeah.
What are you trying to?
I could have sworn I had that because we went over that on a live stream.
Yeah, you played it.
I could have sworn I had that. I'll try and find that here in a second because that's too good not to revisit. Because my gosh, man, it is just so cringe.
That movie is free to watch on Tubi right now.
Wow, free is still too much because then you have to pay with your time. So
just like the Batman from Robert Pattinson, that's free to watch on there too. It's 3 hours and never get back.
Oh no,
I'd rather watch that than Black Adam.
I watched Black Adam.
Quantum Mania.
Well, you know what is not cringe like those films is Gina Carano. Hollywood, well, not Hollywood, but normal people sweetheart. I was going to say Hollywood sweetheart, but they actually hate her up there because she is an actual woman who's speaking out and actually uses her strength and her courage to speak against the things that she holds true and things that she values. Because isn't that what everyone says, that we should speak our truth? Well, Gina's speaking hers, and this is what she's up to lately. In a recent tweet, she said, "In the beautiful halls of the federal court in LA, I was quite amazed at its splendor. I half expected to see Tom Cruise coming sailing down the center like in the Mission Impossible movies. Having just left court, the judge said she would issue a ruling in the near future." So if you guys don't know, Gina Carano is currently in the midst of trying to sue Disney for malpractice for firing her due to her tweet, due to her comments online, whatever you want to call that. She says, "This case is important beyond just me. Disney should not have carte blanche authority to fire any actor just because Disney disagrees with something they say outside of work. No actor would be free to have a voice if that were true. I look forward to the case moving forward and proving Disney's blatant discriminatory actions. Again, thank you for the support always." And then she later said, let's see if I can she then says, "I'm here at LA, headed to court in a few hours to see the judge approves or denies the motion to dismiss my case that Disney Lucasfilm filed in response to my complaint. My hope is that the judge allows me to proceed in presenting my case and denies dismissal. My lawyers and I believe deeply that it should be moved forward. This is my first experience with the judicial system up close and personal, a world I've only ever seen on TV and the news. I'm truly fascinated by this whole process. It feels surreal. Thank you for your positivity, thoughts, and prayers. And thank you, Elon, for the opportunity to be here." That's right, because he's paying the bills. Damn. "Humbled and grateful. God's will be done. I'll let you know how it goes." And she spoke with Russell Brand about the whole experience as of late. But man, you want to talk about a woman who is going into battle, a woman who is going into war head first with this, like taking on the biggest, most evil corporation currently working. And recently, 2 days ago, her most recent update was that she said, "I'm sorry that this is not real news. The judge has not issued a ruling as of yet that I'm aware of. I've informed the Daily Wire news team and they will be issuing a correction. This would indeed be an incredible outcome, but no ruling has been made as of yet. Just to be transparent," thank you again for the support. The Daily Wire had released something that said that the judge was going to rule in favor of Gina, but at this point in time, we don't actually know that. So we're still waiting. But with all that being said, does this news come to as a surprise to you guys? And what do y'all think that the ruling is going to be? Do you think that they are going to even dare to allow Disney to go into discovery where they can actually read these documents to see what actually went on behind the scenes. I don't know if they have the power to do that, but I don't know. It's going to come
if the
down
case
to
moves forward, then we'll get to discovery. And that is the one thing that Disney fears more than anything is discovery, because they will have access to Kathleen Kennedy's emails, to Leslie Headland's emails. And, you know, we've got it on pretty good authority that Leslie Headland actually led the campaign against Gina. You know, we will find out a lot of the dirty laundry behind the scenes. And the disadvantage for Disney is that normally if it got to this point and it was decided against them and it was going to go to discovery, they would just settle it. Like, look, we'll either run you out of money, so just take this money, you know, and put it aside, and, you know, you'll have a gag order and you'll never talk about it, and we'll seal this away from human memory. We'll just pay you off. Or they would just try to run you out of money, which they could normally do, but they can't because Elon Musk is funding this. So
that's the you know part. Yeah, they can't just throw money at their problem. Yeah.
So my hope is, it seemed like the judge was inclined towards allowing it to move forward. She said that she didn't think that Disney had a solid reason for the dismissal. I don't believe that they do, especially now. Normally, they probably would in any other state, but California passed a law to try to protect communists from being fired from the workplace. But the problem is the law has to be applied equally, and so in this case, it's on Gina's side. So fingers crossed. If you know, from everything that I've heard, all the legal analysis I've heard from people who aren't shills, people who actually, you know, give their fair and open assessment on the law, it appears that, you know, the judge should rule in Gina's favor. And when they do, I will celebrate. Celebrated a little prematurely on Twitter when I first heard the news until I saw Gina's correction. But I will absolutely celebrate, because I think all dirty laundry needs to be dragged out into the light. I think all of this stuff needs to be exposed. And if they did engage in malfeasance, I think we all need to know it. And then I think they need to suffer the financial and reputational ramifications of that.
Well, that would be the next question. If this goes to discovery, if it is found to be that the abhorrent statements were not made by Gina, but in fact made by the executives over at Disney, is anyone going to make a change? Because we look at
there's going to be redactions. I guarantee it. It's going to be like the Nixon tapes. There's going to be a shit ton of black Sharpies being used. I guarantee you Disney is lining up the Sharpies right now to get ready to start blacking out a lot of the lines of exchanges made in the emails.
Well, no, I'm saying that if that stuff comes out, though, Drew, like because we like Disney or Disney adults have like they have an infatuation with Disney. Like, they cannot give it up. It's a drug. It's this weird symbiotic relationship that they have with the parks and the company just as a whole. It's you know, they can't give it up. If this stuff comes out, though, do you think that they might start to say, "Whoa, this looks awful" on them?
No,
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay. It won't affect the pixie dusters at all. Like, look, these are the same people. These are the same people. Yeah, they're snorting pixie dust over there, and they're snorting it off of Mickey's boner. So it you know, it doesn't matter what happens. They will still defend Disney. These are the same people that were like, you know, Disney's going to humiliate Ron DeSantis, you know, in Florida. And then you had guys who actually, you know, do that sort of law in Florida, like Legal Mindset, Andrew over at Legal Mindset. And he was like looking at it and he's like, yeah, no, they don't have grounds for dismissal. They don't have grounds for this. They don't have grounds for that. They're going to lose this case. And sure enough, he was right about everything. They had to backtrack, and now they're having to suck up and try and do business in Florida, you know, and it's going to cost them a lot of money. That decision to oppose DeSantis on a bill that prevented teachers from talking to kindergartners about sexuality, which you would think would be just something that everybody would be in support of. Like, yeah, I don't think that teachers should be talking about sexuality with children. You would think that any rational person would be opposed to that, but Disney decided to take that tact, and that didn't make the pixie dusters walk away. Pedophilia didn't make them walk away. So I don't think that you know, any kind of judgment for Gina is going to have any. Yeah, it's going to have any effect on them, but it will have an effect on the general non-pixie dust snorting public. It'll further damage Disney's reputation.
And that's what I'm wondering. Even just these little moments of chipping away and showing people like, hey, this company that y'all just adamantly shill for and cuck, and simp for, they are not what you think that they are. But I think Mark brings up a good point here. He says even if Gina is successful, she'll get some money and Disney will get another black eye, but that's about it. And unfortunately, that might be where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, even outside of this, we're in this point in society now where what's fact and what's a law doesn't even matter anymore. It's all about the court of public opinion, and you've got idiots and retards that have already made up their mind on what they. But look, we're laughing, but it's the reality of what we're living in. Go look at any college campus. Well, not right now because most of them are out, but. Look at all the shit going on in college campuses. Like these people have been indoctrinated to believe a certain thing and think a certain way that even when you present facts, they're not going to believe them because that's what they've been taught. Is question everything. It's insane.
They're all playing the werewolf game, and they're all the villagers, and they're all being killed.
Yes.
So are you guys familiar with the werewolf game?
No.
I think it's one person among you is the werewolf, and everyone else is the villager. Or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and is it like one person the sheriff or something like that?
Yeah, well, so it was invented by I believe it was a Russian student, and it was a game that was designed to show that a minority of informed people will always be able to defeat the uninformed, and that's hopeful because people are waking up and people are becoming informed. But a lot of the culture is still asleep and they don't realize what's going on, and so that's why this propaganda is able to to spread. That's why that's why people are still able to be fooled. That's why you still have people who are saying that Trump is a criminal, but yet they can't name a single charge that a single criminal act that he committed, because they're low information. They just hear and they don't analyze, they don't think, and it agrees with their bias. I try to look at things without, I've got my biases like anybody else, but I try to always look at everything through a very suspicious lens, and show me the evidence is always kind of my feeling on everything. Show me the facts. Let me see, and if the facts disprove what my bias is, then I'll switch positions on it. But unfortunately, my biases tend to be, along with, these are my biases essentially. I don't trust anything the government tells me. I view with a great deal of skepticism and suspicion anything that the media tells me. And operating from those two biases, I tend to be right about most things.
Yeah. And that's Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
No, I was going to say, I think part of what I'm really curious to see if what comes out of all this too is just even beyond Gina. There's so many careers, and this is where it gets technical and hard, because it depends on the grounds at which you were hired, the grounds that you're working for a company, all that. I think you could say there's actual legal issues here where you could kind of go on defamation as far as Gina's concerned about what people said, she said, or implied, or did. But you've got things like people getting fired from shows or projects or whatever for stupid shit. And I think back to not to give this as an example because she's got her own set of problems, but Miley Cyrus was originally cast in Hotel Transylvania, that first film that was coming out. She got fired. You know why she got fired? She was married to Liam Hemsworth, and she bought him a penis cake for his birthday as a joke. And they fired her.
Wow.
But then I look at teachers. We have a friend in common that works in that field, and you cannot do anything disparaging on the internet. You can't have pictures of yourself at a dinner party with friends. You don't even have to have a drink. If other people have drinks in that picture, you can get fired. It's this weird stuff that's like, all right, at some point you've got to draw a line that if they're not doing something illegal and they're not doing something that's harmful to others, do you really have grounds to terminate them? And I think that this case could slowly start leading into those situations of, maybe we need to look at this a little harder. And I think that needs to happen.
And, like you said, this could be the case to do that. Even though, even if it gives Disney a black eye, it's kind of like that scene in 300 where, Leonidas throws a spear, and though he doesn't kill Xerxes, it makes him bleed. And this may be that spear that makes Disney bleed. And then all of these other questions are going to begin being asked about the practices of hiring and firing people and what that looks like. And that could start a whole conversation that might be bigger than all of us. So like you said, Josh, I think the implications of after this could be pretty large as well. I wanted to give a shout out to Comics Exposed. Thanks for being here, man. He says, Aaron, just sign up for Doomface. Let's get the updates rolling. Hell yeah, brother. Thank you for signing up for Doomface.
That reminds me, that reminds me, Max. You asked me for something. Let me send you a couple of pieces of art.
Ooh, yeah, please do. I'd love to show those off. So we've got Gooch in the house as well. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. As you talked about earlier, a symbiotic relationship, with them, with Disney and everything. That may be part of the story I'm writing. It's coming out next month. San Diego Comic-Con.
Speaking of symbiotic, I'll have to show those off as well, but I know we can't talk too much about that. So
not yet.
Not yet. But you know what we can talk about? Dun 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 dun. Oh. Aren't you guys ready for Hera? Oh no! Oh wait, no, guys. The movie was supposed to be about Helm Hammerhand, the King of Rohan. Oh no, you don't want that? You want a made-up character that Tolkien never gave a name to? Oh,
and that they named the most basic bitch thing that they could, showing no creativity whatsoever. Her name is Hera.
Zero. You guys ready to get into this? Because I've got some words. Wait till we read. Wait till we read. You think that this is like? I thought that we saw the worst of it with Rings of Power. Oh no, my friend. This may be the worst. Now I do have to preface. Could this be just a publicity stunt for them to try and gain this modern audience, quote unquote, and the actual show does not portray that? Sure. This could be that, but from all the reports that we've seen, this is in fact the way that they're going to run with this new show, because they've shown 20 minutes of the animated series, and from that 20 minutes, this is what the report has been coming back with. So first and foremost, when the news first dropped, Jonathan from exploringtolkien.com from the onering.com, I think it is, because there's onering.net, onering.org, and onering.com. But he initially posted, he said, here's Hera, the new hero of this rewritten story of Helm Hammerhand. Tolkien never gave her a name and only wrote this about her. Freka asked the hand of Helm's daughter for his son Wolf. That's it. Nothing else. So once again, here's Warner Brothers saying, we can write the story that Tolkien never wrote, except, sorry, Warner Brothers, you can't. It's a fact. You can't. You do not have the chops, the creative integrity. You do not have the skill or talent or anything to do that.
Hey,
Jonathan
Rings of Power
continues.
Rings of Power is a complete shit show, and then Warner Brothers goes, "Hold my pint."
No, really. Oh, they come in pints. But yeah, no. Warner Brothers really, they're trying to, I guess, compete with which is worse. Jonathan continues. He says, first though, let's review the story of Helm Hammerhand. Helm is the king of the Mark, or King of Rohan at the time. And that's what the show was going to focus on, was Helm Hammerhand's battle against not the Dunedain, what are their names? The Dundalayan or something like that. And I forgive me, because I forget what their actual names are. But Jonathan goes on this 15 post thing on Twitter, just breaking down this whole thing. But at the end here, he says, I hope I'm wrong though. Boyens does encouragingly mention her resilience and courage and leadership. I just hope we don't get her in armor leading her people in battle. But sure enough, if we look at Variety, that is exactly what she's going to be doing, is putting on a bunch of armor, leading a band of warrior women against the tribes, the outlandish tribes trying to attack Rohan. So let me see if I'm missing anything.
Jack Frost says Heroin is her name.
Yeah.
Heroin. Oh no. Yes, thank you, Lady G. Dunelandings. I almost said Dunedain, but yes, the Dunelandings. And shout out to Lady G, guys. If you haven't already, Lady G made a video that is almost at 14,000 views right now, talking about this, and she goes off. I mean, I've never seen her on fire more than in this video. And
it's about how much she loves this, right?
You might say that there was a tempest in her.
oh my God, you're not wrong. Someone in the comments, I loved it earlier, but it said something like Warner Brothers tries to make, like, female fans of Lord of the Rings by making this Hera, and by doing that, they're actually turning their female fans away. They're making this worse for their female fans. So, but yeah, go check out her video, and go subscribe, because this is beautiful. But guys, even better than that, step aside, Galadriel. War of the Rohirrim will be the feminist story Lord of the Rings actually needed. I mean, can they go fuck themselves even harder?
What clown skull? What clown skull wrote this article?
What clown skull reads Screen Rant? Like anytime it's Screen Rant, I go, you are as irrelevant as the Mary Sue. Oh, shocking!
I mean, the side shaved haircut says it all. So
this was just written by a haircut. That's not even a person. It's just a haircut.
That's all you see. Bear with me. This will give us cancer, but we're gonna try and get through this. The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim will introduce a new female protagonist, and she may be the best possible feminist icon for the Lord of the Rings franchise. One, The Lord of the Rings doesn't need a feminist icon. They have plenty of women with it. And plus, it is a male... the tale of The Lord of the Rings is a masculine tale of brotherhood, sacrifice, chivalry, nobility, virtue, honor. These tend to be more masculine
toxic,
things.
Very toxic. Yeah, very masculine, toxic. Masculinity.
Let's pause for a second though, because you just said it yourself. What they want is this strong female, and if you go to the Lord of the Rings, pretty much every female in the original Lord of the Rings, they are strong characters within their own right. There's so many examples, and yeah, they may not have gotten the spotlight that some of these ladies may have wanted, but they are perfect examples of how to write a female character well, to give them strength, to let them still be feminine. I hate these people. Like,
no, me too, Josh. Me too. They cannot get out of their own way. They have, like, it's an obsession at this point. But you're right. I mean, this is worse representation than what Tolkien actually did all those years ago, all those decades back. When Tolkien first wrote this, he did so with reverence and respect and honor towards actual women within his universe. And these hooligans, these jabronis, are ruining that, because they think that a woman can do everything that a man can do, and a man is just nothing, and that women are better, and it's the third wave feminism taking over once again. She says Tolkien's books were woefully short on prominent female characters, with a select few including Éowyn from Rohan and the elf Galadriel. For this reason, recent screen adaptations have attempted to make some changes. The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, leaned into Galadriel's warrior status, but this has been overall controversial. However, War of the Rohirrim's Hera may be a different story. She says this has been overall controversial, but she doesn't say why. And it's for the same exact reason why it's been controversial. But she's like, oh, it's controversial. I don't know why, but the War of the Rohirrim will be set about 200 years.
I don't know why it's controversial.
Exactly. It's goo goo gaga.
They have convinced themselves, and they fully believe that if anyone has anything negative to say about a diverse character, a female character, the only reason they're saying that is because they're a bigot or a phobe or an ist. And they, no matter what you say, like as Eric did when he was clipping Gooch's stream, it's going to be dog whistling, no matter how much basis or
Yes.
fact there is to it. But
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And people will see this and they'll go, "Oh, men coping and seething. Oh my God, they're crying right now." And it's just when you don't have actual arguments, that's what you say. When someone doesn't have actual arguments about why we don't think that this is good storytelling, they come back with, "Oh, well, you're just a hysterophobe," or "This is a dog whistle for saying that, oh, you're actually a this." It is, you can time the arguments by, just by how many times we've done this before, and it's never worked out. It's never, at least from what I can tell, it has never been successful. Early in the film's production, it was said that it would follow the war between Rohan's Helm Hammerhand, like we said, the king of Rohan at the time, and the Dunelendings. While this is still true, that's a bold statement. While this is still true, which it doesn't sound like it, it has since been revealed that the War of the Rohirrim will center more on Helm's daughter, who is unnamed in Tolkien's version of the story. While such changes or extensions of the Lord of the Rings canon are typically frowned upon, this may be an exception. Nope, it won't be. 20 minutes of the War of the Rohirrim was screened at an Annecy panel, and during this short preview, the film's new protagonist was introduced. While the story will still follow Helm Hammerhand and his war against the Dunelendings, the film will more specifically center around Helm's daughter. The character will call on an all-female tribe of fighters for help, transforming this Lord of the Rings tale into the sort of feminist story the franchise needs. Please, Side Shave Haircut, tell me what the Lord of the Rings franchise needs. Tell all the Tolkien scholars and all the fans what this franchise needs, because apparently it's this feminist story.
Well, clearly she's right, because I mean, hey, Tolkien was a man. Am I right?
Am I right?
Am I
Drew?
right? Yeah.
That's pretty toxic, if you asked me.
Yeah.
Helm's daughter had little else to do with the story in Tolkien's version of events, probably for a reason. The War of the Rohirrim is making a change. The screening revealed that the newly dubbed Hera would take on a warrior role, forced into a position of leadership following Hammerhand's decisions. Oh no! So they're gonna make Helm Hammerhand super, like like a complete dunce. He's gonna have zero agency whatsoever, and so she's gonna have to come, like, because it says forced into a position of leadership following his decisions. So he's gonna be the incompetent, bumbling idiot who's gonna get them in a ton of trouble, and she's gonna have to be the competent leader, the strong feet. Oh, fuck off, dude! This is so fucking ridiculous. I hate this shit. And like I said before, it has never worked. The character will call in an all-female tribe of fighters for help, transforming this Lord of the Rings tale in the sort of feminist story the franchise needs. Aaron, have you heard any of this?
Feminism is great. It just really is successful every time they jam it into something, isn't it?
Oh man, it doesn't poison everything that it touches.
It also doesn't appeal to the majority of women. The majority of women in the United States don't even identify as feminists, because that's something that's actually become toxic, is feminism. Yeah. And that's why most women don't identify with it.
Yeah. Josh, you were going to say something?
No, I'm it's fine. I'm not going
to. You're just like, you know what? No. Hera isn't Hollywood's first attempt at giving female characters a more prominent role in the Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson's movie trilogy made Arwen a much stronger feature of the story. Blah, blah. Warrior-like, typically portrayed in the past, has been somewhat controversial. Rather than explicitly changing the character, pulls the curtain back a little further, allowing audiences to observe a part of the story that Tolkien might have overlooked. Maybe he overlooked it because he didn't care about the character, or didn't want to talk about the character, or it's something he overlooked for a reason. It's not like, oh, I overlooked this because I didn't know. Oopsies. So of course they're going to take the things that he didn't talk about so that they can rework it, revamp it, repurpose it, and just all the way until they put this in theaters and lose money on it. The expansion of Hera's character may be less upsetting to the Tolkien
The
enthusiasts.
expansion of her character. She didn't have a character. She
didn't even have a name.
Wasn't even named.
Yeah. A warrior-like role doesn't technically contradict anything the author wrote. It doesn't technically contradict anything, of course. It's all these loopholes. Rather than explicitly changing the character, pulls back the curtain. Yeah, so blah blah. The Shield Maiden of Rohan reveals herself to be a formidable warrior. Eowyn's best represented character. But yeah, so Aaron, did you see this? I think we were talking about how this is going to be Helm Hammerhand's fault, because it says that she was forced into a position of leadership following Helm Hammerhand's decisions. So he's going to be the incompetent, bumbling fool who puts Rohan at risk. He's going to put them into the midst of war. And so, the good and decent, competent, strong Hera will have to get them out of this like shitty situation that the brute man put them in.
Did you think it was going to be anything else? Like that's like one story that they can tell. That's the only story that they can ever tell is tear down the male hero and make the woman stand up and be the one who is all sensible and who leads everybody to. And you know what? Like I don't mind that sort of story every once in a while, but when it's every goddamn story out of every goddamn franchise that they rape and pillage with this bullshit, it gets tiresome. It's like it's been done, and you now like having Variety come out with this article. This movie, this series, however it is they're going to present it, it's done. It's over. It's dead on arrival. You guys shot it in the foot out of the gate, which I guess is better than like doing the bait and switch, because then people really get mad,
Sure.
But now people at least get to just dismiss it outright. And that's what you've done, because we know what it's going to be, because we've seen it a million times, because it's all that you do.
Yeah. They are a one-trick pony or a one-trick magician. They keep pulling that rabbit out of the hat, and everyone just keeps getting more and more disappointed and apathetic. I mean, at this point, but
yeah, I love that Warner Brothers has essentially shot themselves in the foot twice with two of the brands that the people had hope in. Because when they announced that they were going to continue doing Lord of the Rings stuff, I think people had hope that, oh, thank God, we're going to get some quality, true to the books, true to the lore content here, and then you get this, and it just completely derailed whatever momentum this had. And then you've got them bringing back the Harry Potter franchise in a series form, where their whole thing was like, hey, we're doing this in a series form so we can deliver the books how you read them. Like that's our goal, is to deliver the books. And then within the past week, they're like, yeah, so we're trying to find ways to make sure J.K. Rowling isn't involved. We don't really need her here.
Oh,
and I'm like,
no.
It's like,
oh boy,
maybe don't.
First of all, I don't think you can. I think her contracts are pretty ironclad.
Oh,
it's trying to do that PR bit. That's really just a mistake, because who are you appealing to? You're appealing to the 12 weirdos on Twitter that scream about this. But the majority of J.K. Rowling's fans, the majority of people reading those books, they don't care about any of this. They don't care about her views. They either agree with her or they don't give a shit. They just enjoy the work.
What's so interesting is that like she is the actual creator. Like I keep thinking about like, oh my God, how could they not include the creator? But then I look at something like Rings of Power, and they fired the Tolkien scholar, because of course Tolkien has passed, right? So they can't include Tolkien in on this adventure. But they fired the one man who knew everything about him, who had met Tolkien plenty of times and all this stuff. So it's just like, how are they this incompetent or intentional about this stuff? So
they wouldn't have wanted Tolkien involved if he was alive. They wouldn't have wanted him, because he would have demanded that they adhere to his story. And it's not about that. It's about perverting a timeless classic story that everybody loves. That's what it is. It's critical nodes and infrastructure. It's about taking these things and perverting them so that, you know, they're completely unrecognizable. It's stuffing them full of their agenda and then forcing them down your throat. And then later they'll be able to get rid of the originals and tell you this is the way it always was. This is not, we're watching 1984 happen before our eyes. You know, Orwell predicted everything to a T. Yep. And that's what you're seeing. It's the death of escapism. It's the death of entertainment. Everything must be stuffed with the message, and you must accept it, and you must celebrate it.
Yeah,
it
really is creepy.
Society who has not learned from its past, because we're told history is evil and bad. This is what I'm saying. People in charge who have not learned from the past refuse to acknowledge the past.
And it's they haven't learned from the past because they don't know the past. They don't know the history. And that's part of it, but it's also this arrogance that they think that whatever they're doing is better.
I think it's more insidious. I think it's more insidious than that. I think that it's the people who haven't learned from the past are doomed to repeat it. The people that don't want you to learn about the past intend to repeat it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And it, you know, I think a lot of people will say, oh, well, this isn't history. These are just like little stories. It's comic books, or it's, you know, nerd stuff. It's Star Wars, or it's whatever. But I truly believe that culture has such an impact on history, and vice versa. History influences a lot of our culture. I mean, Gary has said it multiple times, superheroes are our modern mythology. And I really do feel that, that is a, you know, that there's some truth to that. So, but yeah, so I mean, we are seeing this with history, and now we're seeing it with our franchises and our culture. And, you know, unfortunately, we are doomed to repeat it if we don't understand it, like you guys were saying. I was trying to find the actual article that talked about more of the show itself, because this Screen Rant article, of course, it's going to be absolute bullshit, right? Like it's just going to be riddled with buzzwords, and it's going to be riddled with the feminists we actually needed, right? But even in the actual, you know, Entertainment Weekly or Variety article or Hollywood, you know, whatever it may be, even they are saying that this is the show that Hera leads a band of female warriors into battle. So I wanted to try and find that, but let's see if I can.
Was the word slay dropped at all in this article?
I believe it was quickly followed with queen.
I think that Jodie Turner-Smith came in and went, yes, yes.
You know, because Lord of the Rings has been very patriarchal in the past, and so we need to update it. You know what? Instead of that, I'm just going to play Lady G's video, because she talks about this. I'll put it at time and a half speed, because she's got some great talking points here. But we'll go through some of this and discuss. Sorry, I'm not sharing audio.
You sound weird now too, Max.
How about now?
Okay, now you're good.
That's all right. Better. Cool. Huzzah!
Abomination known as Rings of Power? Of course not.
Whom do you serve? Saruman.
This is the story of the most powerful king in Rohan's history, someone who defeated his enemies with his bare fists. Kamiyama tells EW, why did his lineage have to end with him?
He's talking about Helm Hammerhand. So Kamiyama is, I believe, the animator or the director, which, by the way, if I do want to say something positive about the whole experience with War of the Rohirrim and why I was excited initially, is because the animation looks gorgeous. Like it looks professional and very well done.
So did the animation on the He-Man Netflix show. And,
it did. Oh, you're right.
Look how that turned out.
Oh, it did. Dang it. All right. Oh well.
So Max, I have
sorry,
a question.
Drew. What were we saying? Yeah.
So I'm relatively among the group, the Lord of the Rings novice. Is it Helm Hammerhand? That's a mouthful. Is he like the Conan of Lord of the Rings? That's what it's kind of sounding like.
He is a king who unfortunately has been brash in the past, but he is not some like kind of
he's not a barbarian.
Nomadic. He's not a barbarian. He's not a nomadic warrior. He is still royalty. He is still a king, but how he goes about things are headstrong. He's brash. He's sometimes he may not think as quickly as King Theoden. Like Theoden maybe will think through some of these things before, but Helm Hammerhand is very he's kind of a brute. He wants to get his hands on people. When he was the story goes that when the Dunlendings, one of their heroes came to the halls, I believe his name is Wolf, Wulf. Helm was so disgraced by his, being there that when Wolf went outside, Helm punched him as he was walking out. So he's not good at delegating. He's not a political leader. He is very much, he leads with his fists. He leads with his head, with his muscle, I guess. So I don't know if I'd necessarily call him a Conan.
Okay.
There you go. Typical Anglo-Saxon.
In the War of, what is it? Shadow of Mordor. Those two games they did. Helm Hammerhand is one of the 9.
Is he really? That's cool.
Yeah, they kind of did like that thing where he was one of the kings that fell to the to the ring, power of the ring, and he's one of the 9. And it was like, is this canon? No, but is it an interesting kind of like thing? Sure. It's like just a game.
Yeah. So here's the actual lore. Helm remarks that on how Freka, so it wasn't Wolf, Freka is the Dunlending who comes to Rohan. He says he's grown big, but is mostly fat. So he basically insults him and goes, "Get out of my kingdom, you're fat." And Freka then insults him back, to which then Helm punches him, killing him. So Helm is kind of a badass, but is not a diplomat, we shall say. 4 years later, Rohan is then invaded by Freka's son, and that is Wolf. So Wolf is the son of the man that Helm killed. So I mean, there is a lot of lore with Helm that we could have done something amazing with. Are you like? Do you know how much of a hard-on I would have if we got an actual movie with Helm as the protagonist? That would have been so rad. But no, of course.
But we're seeing him for the dumb barbarian mongrel that he is, and we get to see the women slay.
Slay queen.
So that's what I was about to say. It almost seems like Tolkien was kind of making Helm almost like an allegory of like King David, whereas Theoden was more like King Saul. There's wisdom there, where King David was a little more brash, a little more like, but this looks like their take is like, oh, patriarchy bad. Girls, awesome.
Yes, and that's exactly what they're going with. Instead of, hey, Helm Hammerhand's lineage can grow from this and learn from this, and the men who are under him can learn from his mistakes. They're gonna go the other route, and it's gonna go, men don't get it done, girls get it done. Patriarchy bad, feminism good. So you absolutely.
When you have the patriarchy, you get society, and when you have the matriarchy, you get Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm. So which one do you want to
scissoring?
Yeah, which one do you want to do you want to push your chips onto?
Ooh.
Scissor Sisters unite.
I was gonna say you get a destroyed society like in Why the Last Man. Oh
yeah.
But, I would say Josh brings up a great point. It's just that Tolkien. I do know this. He was a Christian. He was a very religious man, and there's a lot of that went into his writing. And we know with these quote unquote writers, there's probably no foundation of religion in their lives. They don't know anything about that. Don't want any of that, and that will not show up at all in their writing for these stories.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I would say that their ideology has become a religion.
It's become a cult. Mm-hmm. It's like, and what's so funny is that these people will say, "Oh, I don't follow religion. I'm spiritual. I'm not religious." Because spiritual. Religion is too, because they're like, religion is too perverted, and the church has become something. And I'm like, your church is the government. Your spirituality comes from emotions. Like they do everything that corrupt Christians and wolves in sheep's clothing do, but they call it under a different guise.
Their communion is the Pfizer booster shot. That is their communion.
Please,
and now take it.
Bless me, bless me, Father. Bless me, Father Fauci.
Drew, that may be the most on point, most profound thing I've ever heard you say.
That was beautiful. Well done, Drew.
Booster me, Father.
Hey,
booster me.
Can we add this to Doomface?
Yeah, I
Is
think
it
we
too
can.
late? Is it too late to have?
Oh,
it
when we drop that one cover that you've seen, Max, I think that people are gonna like. I think that's gonna be just a firestorm online.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I
yes.
can't wait. I can't wait.
We're not
I was
gonna
like,
we're not gonna
wait.
reveal that.
No,
Yeah,
no,
we're not
no,
gonna
no.
reveal that until the campaign.
I was like, what cover? And I started to get really upset. Like, did he see a cover I didn't see? I'm pissed. And then I realized which one you're talking about. And I was like,
yeah, you know which one.
I know which
I
one.
got to see something that you didn't. No, I'm kidding.
Nope.
But Aaron, I know that you
Oh.
do have to go here pretty soon. So did he already?
No, I'm here.
Oh no, Drew.
And
Drew
he
left.
died.
Okay,
Drew dropped.
Yeah.
and Drew dropped. But yeah, Aaron, I know that you have to go pretty soon, but I do want to show something off here real quick.
Drew drop should have been Drew's name on when we did the parody stream.
Drew drop.
No, his name is Drizzleberry Pop Tart.
Oh, that's right.
But I mean, Drew Drop is a pretty good one too. So this is a tease of that cover that you were just talking about. Can you go into detail about our hero here?
Yeah, so this is Colonel Silverstreak, and he is the old war horse that they freeze and bring out and freeze and bring out. You know, very much a pastiche of kind of Nick Fury, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. He's brought out anytime they need, you know, they have a situation that needs dealing with, and with Doomface returning, it is definitely a situation that they need him for because he was actually part of Doomface's initial banishment. So they unfreeze him, and so much like Doomface, he is another man that is out of time with different sensibilities, and so he is our return to kind of toxic masculinity.
Ooh, I like the way that sounds. That's great. Yeah, man, this design is so rad. I love the pouches. I love his uniform and his armor. I love the eye patch and the smoking. It's just perfect. It's so well done. So I'm really excited to see what he can do.
I
also
put
have
out a
another
teaser with a
character.
line from the second book, which is where he's asked he's asked by Karen to put out his cigar, and he tells her that the cigar only comes out of his mouth for two reasons: loving or fighting, and sometimes not even that.
Hopefully the loving part. Hopefully not the loving part. That's awesome. And then who is this character that we see here?
This was Kid Notorious, which Josh said, why didn't you name him Notorious KID? And so I was like, that's much better. And so so that changed. So that's him and Iggy the inflatable iguana. They are our two hero characters that will follow. They are coming to the big city to try and become big time superheroes. And their story is that they quickly find out that breaking into the superhero business is like breaking into the modern comic book art industry, with the same kind of challenges, the same kind of people that exist in comics right now, the same kind of unbridled narcissism and and backstabbing and just general terrible people being in your way when you're trying to do good. So they're a lot of fun. You can see Iggy there. Iggy is the eternal optimist. His motto is "It never hurts to help," but it quite often does. And like everybody's kind of like, so Notorious KID, which is his real name is Spam. People are always like, oh, so Iggy's like his sidekick, and it's like, no, Iggy's really the hero, and Spam is more the sidekick than anybody else.
Okay, I like it. And here's another character, or here's another cover with that character, I believe. So
yeah, so Renzo recently went back. Renzo did this about 9 months ago. This was his very first like cover that he did. There's two versions of this, one just the heroes, and then one that also includes Lexi and Doomface. You can see there Lexi doesn't like heights. But the more that Renzo has drawn Iggy and the cuter that Iggy has kind of gotten, the more he's kind of like, because Iggy was actually designed by my longtime Darkwing Duck collaborator James Solani. So the more and more used to drawing him that Renzo has got, the cuter he's gotten and the more appealing he's gotten. And so Renzo went back and redid him on this cover. And so now this will be the actual final cover, one of the final covers for the campaign. But this version, this will be the final.
How cool, man. I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us tonight, man. And I really wanted to show these off because like just the pages that we're getting, the interiors and even the colored pages that you're showing us, I'm thrilled. I couldn't think of a better for a better outcome for this book, because it's really coming together, and I'm really excited to get this in people's hands. So and same with Drew's sending us stuff that every day I'm just amazed at the creative talent that you guys have. So this should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I cannot wait. This is I think this will be probably the best thing that I've ever done. It's certainly the thing that I'm having the most fun with. But yeah, I do need to go. I have to write some black and white pages tonight for
Nice.
Art So
Okay.
I'm going to go do that. But thanks for having me on. I hope that I was suitably obnoxious and kept the chat entertained.
Absolutely, as always, man. It is a pleasure to have you on. It's a pleasure to see you. And yeah, thank you for your wise words. But I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, man. And have a great. Oh, I don't know why my thing did that. I'll give you.
It's like
Yeah.
you're like, I'm looking forward to seeing you
There we
soon. Max, I'm getting mixed signals
You're
here.
like, wait a second, yeah. But yeah, wait. What can I? If I do this, I think it'll. There we go.
There we
Much-
go. All right, yeah, dude,
Yay.
yeah. No, can't wait to hang out. Josh, that goes for you, even though you're in another state. We got to hang out soon.
Yeah,
I know.
we'll see each other soon for sure. So
All right, later,
Maybe I'll
guys.
try
Have a
to
good night.
I'm in.
sneak
Take
out to
care, dude.
SoCal sometime this year.
That's right. That's
Ooh,
right.
hopefully that'd be great.
San Diego's next
I'm
month.
in.
No.
It is July.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, later, guys. Later, chat.
See you, dude. Take care.
And then there were two.
Well, brother, do you want to watch a little bit more of Lady G's video, and we'll call it a night?
Yeah, I'm here, man. Let's do it. So as long as you want to
Cool.
go, I'm good.
Sounds good. Before we finish up, we'll get to Dylan Lindsay's super chat for $5. Thank you, sir. He says, do you think this is one of those things that have been in production for years and they have to put it out? I can't believe this is a Zaz decision. Oh, Zaslav. No, this is like, it sounds like they were very proud of this. Like they are going full bore, head on with this announcement. They aren't trying to hold anything back. Like, I think they're very proud of what this is. And to be fair, the creative team are talented working creators. You have Philippa Boynes, who wrote the original Lord of the Rings trilogy with Peter Jackson. You have, I think it was Philippa. I think you also had Fran working. And then you have the incredible animators that worked on this and the directors who worked on this. Like, they put a lot of money into it, and I think that they have a lot of the right people, but for some reason they went with this. Well, I say for some reason, intentionally they went with this dumb idea to make it about Helena. I don't even know. She's forgettable already. So yeah, Dylan, thank you for the $5. I greatly appreciate that. For the most part, I think that this is. I don't think it's something that they are just trying to, Well, Josh, do you remember what they said about Echo? It was like skating on thin ice, or what was it? It was like it was an analogy that they were trying to say, basically, to try and get it out before the ice cracked underneath them. And I forget what the analogy is. But
Oh yeah, I don't know. That
well.
was a shit show of a project.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal, pretty awful. So, but yeah, I don't think they're going to try and sweep this under the rug. I do think that they legitimately are confident with this, which, well, we'll see how that goes.
I will say, Dylan, though, you are correct. They started working on this in June of 2021, so that was about a year before Discovery took over Warner Brothers.
I do think that animation takes a pretty long time, though. Is that
That's what I'm
fair
saying.
to say?
No, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. They
So I do-
started working
yeah.
on this before Zaz and Discovery
merged.
did the merger
Yeah.
with Warner Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think even if this wasn't, I think Zaz would still probably put it out, because Zaslav, like Amazon's guy, knows how much money that Lord of the Rings could potentially pull in. But
I
oh well.
think Zaslav is trying to make Warner Brothers look as purchasable as
As
possible.
pretty
which
as possible.
may not mean they're putting out good shit. So.
Yeah, that's very true. Speaking of good shit, look who's back. What
Hi.
happened?
Oh,
I
Hi.
think as soon as I said Pfizer, automatically I got kicked.
Oh, They got
Yeah.
rid of you, huh? All right.
Yes, they
Well,
did. As soon as I said that, I'm like, what? Everything just died. I don't.
Oh my
wow, they're
gosh.
still listening.
Well, they really are. They're coming for you, man. So
Yeah.
damn. John Baker, I love this quote, man, and this is regarding the Rohirrim. He says, "From the Two Towers, they are proud and willful, but they are true-hearted, generous in thought and deed, bold but not cruel, wise but unlearned, writing no books but singing many songs." Once again, as you said, John, a very archetypal Anglo-Saxon culture. They are very they are the embodiment of, you know, Viking-esque kind of Iron Age, Bronze Age, Dark Age type of men.
The same culture that has black women as queens. That's right. Yeah, I read that from the one miniseries.
That's right, King Haakonson. Yeah, because King Haakon was a 300-pound black woman.
Yeah, and she slayed.
Sorry, a 300-pound lesbian black disabled woman. That's right.
Yep, she slayed.
She did slay indeed. She slayed people's. Well, I was going to say she slayed people's wallets, but then again, no one watched it, so I guess she didn't.
She slayed Amazon's viewership numbers.
Yeah, there you go. Hey-oh. There it is. Let's go ahead and watch a little bit more of this guy because Lady G's got she knows what's up.
I think there is a lesson in hubris there, and also for a need for responsibility and awareness in their power. We live in an age where all.
Ooh. This comes back to men need to recognize and learn a lesson in their hubris. They need to take responsibility for their actions. It's all about power.
Yeah, remember, women are excused from it. Yeah, women they don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, no, women can't take responsibility for any of their actions. At least not in entertainment wise. In Hollywood, they can't because it's never their fault. So
maybe that one time a month, but
gosh, Drew's on a hot streak tonight. Oh my gosh.
What then is power? What is the responsibility of those who possess it? It is something they need to think about by thinking together with those who don't.
This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
In the appendices.
Yeah. Oh, where have we heard that before? Acolyte. What?
Where the story is drawn from, we get these quite interestingly drawn male characters, and then we get this young female character who is never named, and that was really interesting to me. Boyan says, we know Helm has a daughter, and we know that she was central to the conflict that happened, but myself, and especially screenwriter Phoebe Gittins, were drawn to her. We could feel the weight of being that unnamed daughter, which immediately piqued our interest. Who was she? How did she live? It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Amen, Lady G. I agree with you. It doesn't matter. No one cares about her. I'm sorry to say that may sound harsh, but like genuinely, like we care about Helm Hammerhand. If you are going to get butts in the seats, and that's how they're going to do that. They almost probably did the bait and switch with us if this stuff didn't come out. Because if I were going to sit in that theater thinking this was a Helm Hammerhand film, and to be thwarted and subverted with Hera, I would have been furious. So
I think these rockets. Hey, Max, I have a strong feeling that these rocket scientists writing this story, they're gonna be doing some judicious rewriting of history and the logs of this. I really feel like they're gonna be making it look like this female character was really saving Sam and the others under a journey to get rid of the ring. I think like she was the one who was protecting and saving them along the way.
She's integral. Yeah, she's integral to like all of the other characters like later on in the I can see that. Yeah.
I don't understand this obsession with writing the story that Tolkien never wrote.
Geysers of story just kind of kept on sprouting out everywhere we looked, and we said, this is Tolkien's great untold epic.
They just literally a few paragraphs above this were talking about a lesson in hubris. Why are you trying to tell a story that is not Tolkien's? Everyone was like, oh, well, guess what? Fran Walsh and Peter Jackson are executive producing on.
Oh, that's okay. So Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens, I think, is the one writing, but Fran Walsh and Peter Jackson are producing, which, I mean, did they even look at the script?
Probably not. It's not uncommon for producers to put some money forward just to make money out of it.
Yeah,
and
just fund it.
Yep. Never read a script, never show up on set, never. They're just, there you go. Thanks.
Yeah. Why would they? Peter Jackson made the best franchise of all time. He made the best 3 films ever made. Why would he care? You know. So.
It also wouldn't surprise me if Warner Brothers approached Peter Jackson asking for him to be involved as a producer. And a lot of times to keep
Well, that's a good
courtesy,
point,
like
yeah.
they'll ask, yeah, I mean, they might have actually asked him to be involved even as a director or a co-writer or something. And he would probably said no. And then a lot of times to keep cordial with studios, you'll say, well, I'll step in as a producer. Christopher Nolan did it once he finished his Batman films and they decided they were going to start their new universe. And Zack Snyder was the guy. Like he's got producer credits. He didn't do shit with the story, clearly.
Gosh dang. Oh, it's so sad.
On the War of the Rohirrim, it's going to be fantastic. No. The proof is in the modern day pudding. It gets worse, guys. It gets worse. It's going to undermine
It does.
Éowyn in such a horrific way. It's truly just devastating. Not to mention Éomer and the Rohirrim themselves. In the War of the Rohirrim, Helm's daughter is named Hera. I'm sure it's not a coincidence that they chose the name of the habitually cheated on wife of Zeus in Greek mythology, but we'll just put that off to the side so we don't go down another 35-minute tangent rabbit hole.
And believe me, Lady G could. She could, but she won't. So we'll keep going.
Maybe this will lead to some good acolyte level of scissoring. We'll see like this female and Galadriel do some scissoring action. Yeah.
That'd be nice. That'd be really representative,
And slang.
Truly show off how representation and diversity matters, So there it is. Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Look,
stronger resemblance to the hair.
What?
Showing how those rings are made. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Heroines like Arwen and Éowyn. She would lay down her life for her people, Wise says. Comparing her to Arwen or Éowyn, they're already fully formed women. What I loved about Hera is she's fierce, she's complex, she's rebellious.
So fierce.
I can't wait for all the Twitter talk in this show that takes place on.
Yeah. All right, my fierce warrior women for Tolkien. And it's like, what? Oh God.
That's Éowyn. That's Éowyn. That's Arwen. Like, tell me you've never read the books without telling me you've never read the books. The appendices that this is based on is barely enough of 3 pages, and they're making an entire feature-length film out of this, and they're not even following the 3 pages of appendices that they have. And they're also insulting the established, incredible female characters that already exist in Lord of the Rings. Arwen defies her father. She rebels against going to the Grey Havens and living her life with the Eldar. She rejected that to stay with Aragorn. Left to live men. Éowyn stood between the king of Agmar and slew him. Not because she wanted the glory or the accolades or because she wanted the attention or she wanted to prove that she was just as good as the men. She wanted to save her uncle's life. She wanted to protect the person that she loved. Completely, absolutely disrespected and bastardized. This should have been a layup for Warner Brothers, and they cannot get out of their own way. Told you it got worse.
And it's what we talked about earlier. Like it's these corporations, these companies, these producers who are coming in now and think that they can do it better when in all actuality they're actually ruining what came before and are actually doing a worse representation of women because of how degrading it is to the female characters who came before. So,
worse. Hailing from New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers Animation, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim delves into a short episode in Tolkien's original work around Rohan King Helm Hammerhand, Arnage. Well, maybe it's not so bad. Not so bad. It is the
this next line is killer.
First time a Lord of the Rings adaptation has been led by a female character. Unnamed in the original book, she has been called Hera, as we knew, in the anime adaptation and is voiced by Gaia Wise. While this is a lot of setup, you can both see where the story is going for the War of the Rohirrim, with this inter-family squabble blowing up into full-scale battle, and Hera eventually having to lead her people, calling on the power of a seemingly long-lost tribe of female warriors. It's
what?
Oh
my warrior women, come fight with me. The long lost tribe of female warriors, dude.
The fact that the Warner Brothers executives or Amazon, they greenlit this with straight faces and there's no laughing involved it just shows my favorite phrase, the unmitigated stupidity on the board.
Yeah. You can't make it up. So, well, I mean, you can, and if you were to make it up in parody, you still couldn't do it as good as this. This is yeah. You go, okay, how can we like legitimately make her like the feminist boss ass bitch icon that we need her to be? Let's put her in like armor and let's let her rebel against the king and lead an army of female warriors. And sure enough,
Look,
that's what they ended up
Look,
doing.
I'm going to sound like a complete sexist when I say this, but hey, it's true. This just shows this is the lazy hallmark writing of a lazy female writing staff. We got this.
Yep.
We're seeing that with the Acolyte. We're seeing it here now. We saw it with I mean, it was very, 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 very loosely translated. It was like the lady king, queen, whatever the hell it was with Vera. Yeah, whatever the hell it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that it was like about 1% of that was true, but it's just it's fucking lazy, and it just shows you have no creativity.
Yeah, but and here's the thing: they are gonna say we're misogynists. They're gonna say that we don't like this because it's powerful women, and my response to that would be, Xena Warrior Princess, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Alien, Terminator with Sarah Connor, like
Born of Blood, Jairus.
Yeah, these are all strong female characters that led their shows, and we're like, yo, right on, more of that, please.
Do your thing. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
We'll see more of that. Yeah, the 2000s and 90s had way more of this than and it was done actually well,
way better. Yeah,
because it wasn't so on the it wasn't just beating you over the head with it, and they actually were allowed to show some sort of emotion. They were allowed to show some sort of weakness. My God, what it would mean to have an actual woman or a female character that maybe had to take responsibility for her actions or her mistakes, or maybe have weakness and show some sort of emotion.
Yep.
God forbid that we have that in a TV show or a movie.
And also, they managed to make strong female characters without having to like degrade the men in the process. And it's not even about I mean, it is about degrading the men, but it's also not about degrading the men. It's that they found a way to go, this character has value, and this is what they contribute, and this is what they can do, and this is why they work with this other strong character. It looks like I'm doing boobs right now, so keeping it on theme. This is why they matter. Boobs.
Exactly. Nailed it. What's happening, Psychotic? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Yes, hold my beer. We've also got Miss Sassy. Hello, Miss Sassy. Great to see you. X-Wing, what's happening, dude? MVP. Thanks for being here, X-Wing. Hope you're doing well, brother. Love seeing you on all your shows.
I'm sorry. Anytime I see a script, Max, when I see the hidden Lost Tribe of Female Warriors, I can't help but bust out laughing. It's fucking hilarious. And just fucking
it is beyond a joke at this point. Like, how does anyone take this seriously? But what's interesting, Drew, is you mentioned earlier, you said this is a writer's room of lazy women who are just trying to check the boxes, like Acolyte, right? But the thing is, Philippa Boyens wrote, like I said earlier, she wrote the original Lord of the Rings trilogy with Peter and Fran. Now, granted, she may have been in a different headspace. She may have had more help. Maybe she's doing something different here. But we're getting some of those female writers back in the writing room. I don't know how much how much say she has, but I'm wondering if this is something's wrong because.
Wrong.
Yeah,
we see it with Star Trek. Like the new Star Trek series is actually written by the same guy who did New Who, and New Who was widely praised. And now look how terrible Doctor Who is. Sorry, I cut you off, Josh. What were you saying?
I think Drew was going to ask what New Who was.
Yeah.
It was when they stopped Doctor Who. They stopped producing Doctor Who, the series, and then when they came back, they kind of revamped it with I forget what his name is, but one of the more modern British actors.
Yeah.
Is it Chibnall? I don't know the individual's name, but he's a gay man who has been writing Doctor Who, and when he came back with New Who, like I said, it was widely praised, and now after the female Doctor Who, they now have the gay black Doctor Who, and they've made his personality just gay black man. Like that's just his whole story.
And potentially gender fluid because he wears like skirts and shit.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And it produced some of the lowest ratings ever in Doctor Who history.
Correct. Yes. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I think generally speaking, as society, we have a very short memory And I think that so many people have started to believe the conversations that are taking place, despite them potentially being involved with this history, and they're trying to like course correct something that didn't need to be course corrected. It's just ridiculous. But
that's such a good point. These people who are influential, inspirational, and in the process of making the things that have, given us such incredible, incredible sources of entertainment. They so quickly forget that, like, you guys were making waves back then, and now you're making a fool out of yourself. So, um, X-Wing for $9.99 says, "Spank you for your cervix." Well, spank you for your cervix. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much.
X-Wing also says that YouTube said, "Nah, you ain't gonna have that." Dude, thank you seriously for the $9.99. I really do appreciate that. And you know what? For that, we have to see the true Rohirrim, the men who rode into battle and sacrificed their lives for Middle Earth. So, hail to you, X-Wing. Thanks for the $10, brother. There you go. That's Drew. You want to watch Hera? I think you'll have a better time. I don't think you'll be falling asleep because you'll be laughing so hard.
It sounds more faithful and enjoyable than.
Gosh dang it! That is the greatest cinematic piece of art, like ever. The Ride of the Rohirrim. I know you didn't experience this, Drew, when you were in theaters, but I did. And nothing will ever be as epic as that scene, other than maybe Aragorn saying for Frodo, other than potentially the
Gibson saying they'll never take our freedom.
The charge at Helm's Deep.
Maybe Braveheart. This is coming from someone who hasn't seen 1% of what's considered the greatest films of all time, but it's fine.
Yes. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. We'll continue reading this or listening to this.
You've killed it.
It's dead, John.
You simply cannot get out of your own way, Warner Brothers. Nobody wants this. This is not the story that Tolkien wrote. If he had wanted to name her, he would have. If he thought that she was significant enough to share the name, he would have. His line ends. Helm Hammerhand's line ends. That is what we know for certain. His nephew takes the throne in Edoras after him. That is what we know. It is the second line of King. The fact that this entire story is going to focus on essentially a female Eowyn, Arwen, and modern day Mary Sue, they just won't learn their lesson. This gives me even less hope for the Hunt for Gollum. I don't care if Philippa Boyens.
Oh, dude, don't Hunt for Gollum is dead on arrival too. No one cares about. No one wants a movie about Gollum. I'm sorry, but no, X-Wing. This is real life. I was fully torqued in that theater, man. It was freaking wild. Makes you wonder what happened to the lost tribe. Yeah, why didn't they show up? Where were they?
Because they're really calling the shots behind the scenes. They're the ones that are keeping Sam and everyone safe. They're the ones no one can see. They're invisible. They have like their own rings keeping them invisible. Yeah,
their own rings.
Right, yeah.
To be fair though, Dylan, the Helm Hammerhead takes place 200 years before, I think, the events of The Hobbit, and then The Hobbit takes place before Lord of the Rings. So this is prior to Helm's Deep, the battle at Helm's Deep. So that in terms of timeline, that's probably why they didn't show up. But yeah.
Is involved. I don't care if Peter Jackson is involved. It's been 25 years. I don't know what they had to say or what they had to do to be able to get on this team, but what has been shared is horrifying. If you want to tell a story about a strong, powerful female warrior who is imbued with the ability to use magical artifacts or command a tribe of female warriors or male warriors or warriors in general, take on gods, take on monsters, stand toe-to-toe with Hercules, you have Xena. Now please don't go ruin Xena. I beg of you. Do not go ruin Xena. But these...
Damn, Josh, you called it. Nice.
women
And I hadn't
that
watched
you
this
are
video.
claiming need representation. They
yeah.
already exist in film, in television, in stories. Your inability or willful
And look who's next in this in these clips that Lady G is about to play.
Is it
ignorance
Buffy?
to
Yep.
Hey,
Oh,
there they
Buffy
are.
and Faith. Look at
Look
that.
at that. You called it. You called it.
Toadstorbs.
hunt down and watch or read about these women does not mean they do not exist. Lack of knowledge on your part does not constitute lack of existence of strong
Hold on, I gotta play this
Ripley.
line right here. Yeah, this line right here was amazing.
existence of strong female or willful ignorance. To hunt down and watch or read about these women does not mean they do not exist. Lack of knowledge on your part does not constitute lack of existence of strong female protagonists' character.
Lack of knowledge on your part does not constitute the lack of not being able to put these characters in the films. I loved that line that she said, and I think that pretty much sums it up. So, yeah, X-Wing dude, we were talking about it earlier. Helm Hammerhand is a absolute Chad. The dude punches a guy in the face and kills him instantly. I mean, come on. It's
But
pretty,
apparently,
pretty
according to these writers, he's also a dunce. So there we go.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently, because all men are bad, all men are evil. So the patriarchy, you know that.
And look,
It's
there,
bad.
there's a chance that they could, write him in a way that he's a complex character in a difficult situation and makes a decision that is ultimately the best decision, but still has consequences that leads to these things. But we know they're not going to, because history tells us they're not going to. At least
Because
recent
they,
history.
yeah, they physically can't. They just cannot do it. And Theoden was a complex character. He had to do what he believed was right for his people. Drew, you can fall asleep for a little bit, but the adults are going to talk in the room.
Okay, nap time.
What did King Theoden do when he was charged with the decision of leaving Edoras and going to Helm's Deep, or staying at Edoras and potentially protecting Edoras from there? He said, you know what, we're going to pick up and we're going to leave and we're going to fight at Helm's Deep because we've never lost a battle there. We're going to go there and hopefully make our last stand at Helm's Deep. Same thing happened when Aragorn was talking to Theoden about what he was going to do with his men. Was he going to call for aid from Gondor? Was he going to do all these things? And Theoden says, what would you have me do? What would you have me tell these men who have seen too many winters or have seen too few? Like, Theoden is a real, actual, just a man who makes mistakes and who may not always make the perfect decision, but he's doing what he thinks is right for his people, and that's the most important thing. And he does so with courage. And they can't do that with they physically do not have the talent to do that with Helm Hammerhand, unfortunately. So X-Wing, if that's really what you think, damn. All right. I don't know. I would beg to differ. Theoden's pretty dope, but have a good night, brother. Take care. Well, that is all I think for tonight. I think we've covered all the topics that's fit to print. You guys got anything else before we take off tonight?
Stay tuned for next month. Back to that symbiotic Disney relationship. Be something along those lines coming out maybe in time for San Diego.
Yeah,
maybe something by that artist. Yeah,
maybe something from this incredible artist that you have nailed down. So this could be potentially in the works for a different book. But this book that this current cover is for Unholy Nightmare. If you guys haven't already, go check this out. These are some of the interiors that just came right off the printing press. Tons of incredible, dynamic, fun action, great characters, and some incredible cover art. So, Drew, you got anything else for?
That was all by hand, baby. That cover by Vudon, all by hand. He is Dude. Amazing. I already got him. He's, like I said, he's already done another cover for us.
Yeah.
It's coming out next month, but I've also got him starting on another one. I'll talk to you guys behind the scenes about.
Nice.
So for issue 2. But yeah, this guy's amazing, and yeah, stay tuned.
So freaking sweet. I can't wait, dude. All right, Joshy Poo, what can we expect from you next? Is it do we have a Marvelous Monday or do we have a Tuesday stream?
It's gonna be. I mean, we're recording Marvelous Monday tomorrow night, but that's gonna be for August, the August episode. Yeah, we try to get some.
That's the movie, right? That's the movie that you guys are gonna record.
Oh, we've already recorded. We've already recorded that. That airs in July.
Okay.
So we're recording for X-Men 2000, and that will air in August. But yeah, we'll have the Tuesday stream. I've got to try to find time to sit down and finish reading comics and see if we're gonna just do a late top 5 of May. Now that we're more than halfway through June for top 5 comics. The last 2 weeks of May were an absolute shit show. So
yeah.
you know, a lot of stuff going on there. But I need to talk to you, Max, and someone else because I'm looking into doing bringing back only Josh this month.
Yeah.
To potentially discuss, you know, as much as we talk about June being Pride Month, I want to talk about men's mental health awareness since it is also.
It is that time of month.
It's recognized for June.
Yeah.
And then to wrap up the month, we will have an episode of Sipping with McDizzy, and you know, I'm sure there'll be some fun shit to talk about there with that degenerate. And you know, we might have to wrap up Acolyte with a Riz Factor episode where.
Oh my god! Rich, don't tease me, bro.
Rizzy Ricky Rich, you know, reviews
Rizzy Ricky Rich coming in for the Acolyte.
That's right.
He's like, oh my god, the way they were scissoring, bro, I loved it. Yeah. Star Wars is we are so back. Isn't that what he would be like?
So back. Yeah.
We are so back.
Oh.
Star Wars is straight fire. Yeah. Oof. Well, unfortunately, MaxiPad cannot join you on this journey. He will wait. Okay. MaxiPad's in hibernation until we get Craven. So
Rizzy Ricky Rich will hold down the fort. Don't worry.
Thank you for your cervix.
Of course.
Dylan for another $2. Thank you so much, Dylan. I greatly appreciate that. He says, "Great show. I hope you guys have a great night." Well, thank you, Dylan. I appreciate it, and same to you, man. And once again, happy Father's Day to all of you Chads out there. Seriously, we would be nothing without the fathers in our society, and so that is key to our success as a nation, as a culture, as you know, a country, all that good stuff. So hail to all the fathers out there. Let's see. What do I want to play as we leave tonight? You know what? Let's do this one.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
What we doing live? Echoes in eternity.
There you go, Dylan. Thank you again for the $2. That's some fatherly masculinity there. But yeah, we'll end with that. Chat, you guys have been a pleasure. Thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. This was a pleasure. Well, it's a pleasure to hang out with these guys, but it's always sad to talk about just the absolute degeneracy that is the current state of our entertainment. But hey, someone's got to talk about it, and we will fall on our sword for that. But other than that, reject modernity, embrace y'all's legacy. Have a great rest of the weekend. Happy Father's Day, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care. Why is it not ending?
Oh. I'm glad I didn't say anything.
I was about to say. It says, end the stream. Having trouble connecting. Please check your internet connection. So it's not letting me. So I guess we're going to keep going. Hang on a second. Wow. StreamYards is killing me right now. I may have to actually.